It's pickup time. So let's revisit this P-90 that I just filmed yesterday. This is one I bought off Reverb and I just received it. Come to find out the coil tape is not original. And the photo, the seller only had 3 photos of this pickup to begin with. I took a chance on it. You could tell the base plate was original. I knew this was not, and I had some questions about that because the soap bar should have a hole in it for the wire to pass through here rather than come around the edges like a dog ear would. However, it's possible that this could have been converted from a dog ear by just cutting off the ends either from Gibson or from a person later, and either way I didn't really care. I do care about the coil though, so it's going back, but while it's here, let's further explore its unoriginality. So the solder is obviously not original. There might be a hole in the base plate under that or not. We don't know yet. Let's look at some other things. On this pickup, you will see there's a screw and then a lock washer under that screw. And on this side, there's a screw and no lock washer under that screw. What should be there is another lock washer, such as this one, and a lug for a ground, like this. Those should both be under that screw. Neither is present, but we already know that this has been altered here at some point. I don't think this is the original lead. That's probably why. Lead was probably replaced. There's something else about this that I wanted to check. Let's have a look at that. I have not checked the magnetic polarity of this yet. Let's do that as we explore what's underneath. Now, this P-90 has obviously been opened up, worked on. Looks like the coil's been rewound or repaired. Lead's been off, so this is a non-invasive, not harmful thing to do anyway, but I'm going to open it up. Okay. These magnets both look good to me. Nope. Nope. No, no, no. Okay. This is something that most people aren't going to catch. Does anybody see anything here that looks out of place? If you do, I like you. It's not that this is shiny and Gibson magnets are supposed to be rough cast. That's not it. Gibson magnets are only as shiny as they needed to be ground flat to dimension. This one looks like it needed to be ground a little bit on both sides. Here's what I saw that jumped out at me. Do you see this dark line that runs right here and curves off a little bit? Do you know what that's from? I can show you what that's from if I grab a humbucker bobbin out of my drawer and we imagine that, let's just set this down, rather than that magnet being in a P-90, it's in a humbucker. And on top of that magnet sits a bobbin. And then for the sake of completeness, another bobbin here. And that's exactly how the magnet sits between the 2 bobbins of a humbucker. Look at that. That's what that's from. You see that all the time on PAFs and T-tops. You never ever see it on a P-90 because what would cause that? There is nothing on either side, no matter how you install that magnet, that would do that. Did I just see a mark on this magnet? Yes, I did. On the north face, these magnets should be marked. Is that the north face? Yes, because that's south. And that's also That's north here. So I didn't try this, but this pickup wouldn't even work. You would get hardly any sound out of it at all, because north to the outside here, south to the outside there. That's wrong. Unless I just inadvertently flipped this around. I don't think I did. But in either case, we already examined that line. We can go back in the video and look. It curves off to the side. So we know that the marked side is north and it's facing in. That's wrong. P-90s have south in polarity. This magnet's marked in a different way. I'm starting to think there's really nothing original about this. Let's have a look at that coil wire color if we can. It's going to be hard to see. Yeah. It's just too dirty to know anything. All right, let's measure these magnets. Gauss meter here. This is a little jig that I've rigged up to hold the actual probe for the magnetism in place, which is down here at the very bottom. And this way I can run magnets or pickups across it in a way that's uniform, and I know that I'm not, you know, holding a little high or a little low. It's always the same. Okay. These are reading very low. It's peaking at about 460, but we're really not looking for peaks necessarily. It's averaging under 400. Well, it's over 400 on this end. Let's call it 400. So that's pretty weak. That's, you know, those are A3 numbers, but we don't know that these magnets are charged. We do know that they were messed with, and we do know that they were installed in this incorrectly. So those numbers are nothing more than a curiosity at the moment. And this is just under 400 the whole way through. I'm going to charge these real quick. Can you watch the lights dim when I do that? Should have like some sci-fi noises. All right, I've just returned from the nuclear reactor and these are charged now. Start with the same one first. And I'm getting about 600, just under. Just over. Okay, let's call this one about 600. And now let's do this one here. So it's just under 600, which means that they're not A4s or A2s, because I know this meter and I know Gibson magnets on it and how it reads them. So, and knowing, you know, a bit about the history of Gibson, and these are short magnets and they're reading strong. And in my experience, I'm going to, you know, the measurement alone can't tell you this, but the measurement plus my experience looking at these magnets and having used that meter with liquid, I'm going to fairly confidently, very confidently say these are A5s, which is what I would expect. So we talked a moment about that hole that should be in the base plate there. It is not. So this, in a soap bar, you would typically have a hole with a grommet. Now this is a correct P-90 keeper bar here. This looks like the yeah, this is a nice early one. I think that is original. The bobbin is correct, though it's not early. Early ones were very brittle. That might be about all I got here. You know what I didn't do? I didn't read the DC resistance. You know why? Because it doesn't matter. If you don't know that, I'd say read my book, but that sounds scammy. There's a post on the My Paul forum that is a little article I wrote called The Misleading Nature of DC Resistance regarding guitar pickups, or in regards to guitar pickups. And that post actually is what became the first chapter of my PAF book. So that part you can read for free publicly. You don't have to buy anything. And it will explain more than I have the time to do right now why DC resistance is misleading regarding guitar pickups. It is winter here. Last you saw me, it was iced coffee and Perrier. Now it is hot coffee and Perrier. And oh yes, there is Perrier. What else? I don't know. Here, look, some cool things on the bench. Haha, Tone Bender MK2. And this one, best sounding one I've ever heard. You don't see these guys around. This company, I believe, turned into Ramble Effects, but you won't see one like this. I know this has nothing to do with the video, but let's crack this open real quick, because I can almost certainly guarantee that no one has ever seen, I hope I'm getting that right, that this skunkwork effect became Ramble Effects. I believe that's the case. I got this from my friend Griffin. Like the first or second year I was in business, so that would make that about 13 years ago. 14 years ago, maybe. I think we traded for some pickups. He got some special stuff. Sent me this. Something else. Yeah, look at that. You're not going to see a Ramble Effects unit on a breadboard with new old stock Muller Red Dot OC75s. And this thing sounds good. That's my alarm going off. I got to go. All right, you folks have a wonderful night. It's been a pleasure. See you.